My name is Delphine Brody. I'm a survivor of violence. In my youth, I survived sexual assault and relationship violence, and I survived bullying in school. And I developed a trauma in my body and in my mind. As a result of this, I got a kind of a chronic trauma that was diagnosed ultimately as post-traumatic stress disorder and major clinical depression. By the time I got diagnosed, I'd been homeless for a number of years. I had attempted to kill myself. And during that journey, at one point I found myself homeless in Portland only a month after I had attempted suicide. And I talked to the counselor about it. She was asking me, is that really what you wanted? You wanted to die? And I said, no, that wasn't what I wanted. I don't know why I wanted to do that, but I have a reason to live. I want to stop the violence, like the violence that I experienced myself, from repeating itself over and over into another generation. I want to help change the social conditions that create that violence in my life and in my family and in our society and in the communities that I'm part of. So I became an activist and started working in numerous social justice movements, including the movement against sexual assault and rape, domestic violence movement, and holding police and the prison industrial complex accountable to the people they're supposed to serve, supporting prisoners and survivors of abuse in those systems, and working also with people living in supportive housing as I lived in after I had been diagnosed. The diagnosis for me was, even though I was labeled with some stigmatizing conditions, it was also an opportunity for me to have a medically legitimized reason to receive disability benefits, which allowed me to get back on my feet slowly. I had housing, a roof over my head, which really saved me from a lot more trauma on the streets, since I had been homeless for several years. And that allowed me to put my life back together and get active again in my communities. Giving back meant so much to me. And I also worked in the HIV prevention and other healthcare fields. I did peer outreach with a community clinic, and I formed a tenants union in the supportive housing hotel where I was a tenant. And I represented other tenants there as an advocate, focusing on mental health issues. That got me involved in mental health advocacy, that brought me closer into the movement that I am now a part of, the mental health client survivor peer movement. I learned about the statewide client survivor run organization in my state. Actually, it's the oldest peer run statewide organization in the US. And I became a staff person there. And it is through that work that I now give back. I feel like we have a lot of work ahead of us. There are many days that I get discouraged, but I have not given up hope, because this work is really meaningful. And here at Alternatives, I'm again inspired to see others who are working alongside me to make this a reality, that we really can end the violence and abuse around us, and that we can make the changes that we need to make to have a safer, more creative and worthwhile world to live in.